Okay guys, this is from the Freedom Outpost. And the fellow that wrote the article, his name is Tim Brown. They're back, maybe? Yeah. Tim Brown, January 1st, 2019. And it's something we already knew about the government stockpiling firearms and ammunition. And it goes on to say, Democrats have threatened the rights of law-abiding Americans that are protected under the Second Amendment. And even the Republican president has already unconstitutionally banned bump stocks, supported the violations of the Second, the Fourth, and the Fifth Amendments to the Constitution, as well as his duty and the boundaries of congressional legislation by ways of red flag laws. Well, kids, this U.S. Government Accountability Office reveals that the feds have spent over $1.5 billion in the last 7 years to arm all sorts of federal agencies. Okay? Let's get down here. Agencies such as the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Internal Revenue Service, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the U.S. Department of Interior, the U.S. Department of the Treasury, U.S. Department of Veterans Administration, and the Social Security Administrations have also been armed. I'm going to zoom in on that because I want you to so you don't know that I'm talking out my rear end. Okay. All these agencies are not provisioned in the U.S. Constitution, and they are not a necessity for our country to operate constitutionally. Yet, our own government is creating an army against its own people, just like Barry Soetoro wanted. According to the report, the Fed spent at least $38.8 million on firearms, $325.9 million on ammunition, $1.5 billion on tactical equipment, and at least $1.5 billion in total from fiscal year 2010 through 2015. Now look at that again. Why don't you look at that again? You look at this. Right here. 1.14 billion on tactical equipment, at least 1.5 billion in total from fiscal year 2010 through 2017. Now these are the expenditures down here. Pistols, rifles, so on and so forth. Yep. Aiming devices, special image enhancement devices, tactical lighting. Yep. And let's see, they have these agencies are not merely armed with pistols, rifles, shotguns, revolvers. They are equipped with explosive devices, large caliber launchers, pyrotechnics, special munitions, breaching equipment, batons, suppressors for the weapons, unmanned and aerial vehicles, weaponized aircraft, vessels, and vehicles including armored vehicles, command and control vehicles, tactical vehicles, and manned aircraft. These are items that they do not want the ordinary citizen to acquire. It's one thing for practices and stuff, but there's a lot of unconstitutionality in everything that they're doing here. Back in 2014, when federal agents descended on Bundy Ranch, more than 300 armed federal agents were intent on stealing and killing Cliven Bundy's cattle and possibly his family and supporters. It became clear what kind of a beast they're creating in D.C. Ron Paul warned the American people against arming the Bureau of Land Management back in 1999. He didn't want, any more Ruby Ridges or Waco. Under the Constitution, it was never meant to be a federal police force, Paul continued. Even the FBI, limited only to investigation, was not accepted until this century. However, fueled by federal government misdirected war on drugs, radical environmentation, aggressive behavior in the nanny states, we have witnessed a massive buildup of a virtual army of armed regulators prowling the states where they have no authority. The people have become less vigilant, and because of this, special interest groups would continue to advance a welfare state which redistributes wealth in America. Wealth is limited, however, said Paul. The demands are unlimited. A welfare system diminishes production and shrinks the economic pie. As this occurs, anger among the competing special interests grows. While Congress and the people concentrate on material welfare and its equal distribution, the principles of liberty are ignored and freedom is undermined. And groups demand special favors from the federal government, and they abuse those rights and property too. So you better wake up, kids, to the, what the heck's going on. The total, let's see, these people don't only agencies like the FBI, but you got the EPA, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, the Army Corps of Engineers, even Bruce Babbitt, according to FARA, wants to arm the Bureau of Land Management. It's also ironic that the proliferation of guns in the hands of bureaucrats is pushed by the anti-gun fanatics who hate the Second Amendment and who would disarm every law-American citizen. Yeah, we need gun control. We need to disarm our bureaucrats, then abolish the agencies. If government bureaucrats like guns that much, let them seek work with the NRA. Force and intimidation are the tools of tyrants. Imitation with government guns, the threat of imprisonment, the fear of harassment by government agencies puts fear into the hearts of millions of people. Here's something you got to think of. The guns in the hand of law-abiding citizens serve to hold in check the arrogant and aggressive government. But guns in the hands of bureaucrats do the exact opposite. The founders of this country fully understood that fact. I want to put a link to this. I suggest you go read it yourself. I just covered part of it. And this is what's happening in America. And if you don't wake up to it, then you're just as guilty as the people who are perpetrating this upon you. Wake up. Start revoking your consent to be governed. Fail to comply on a lot of their unconstitutional laws. In other words, get your butt in gear and start doing something to help out this country before we lose this country. Thanks for watching.